Topic at hand, transformational lessons and realizations. So what does this mean? So when we were kind of thinking up a topic would be good to discuss on this episode, this panel today, I felt like this topic to me, what it really means and what it jumps out to me as is, what are some things that were game-changing lessons that you learned in your business that was almost like a light bulb moment that created massive change in your business, right? That you look back on and you're like, that's a defining moment for me. When I learned that lesson, when I had that realization, I feel like there's not necessarily for most people a ton of these because otherwise they wouldn't be special if you were having one every day. But there's probably a handful that most business owners, especially when they get to the decade plus mark and they've seen a lot of growth and they've seen a lot of success, they're going to look back and they're going to have a list of those. All of us have been doing this 10 years plus in the space. I guess, Glenn, let's start with you on that. Like, when I say that, when I describe it, is there something that comes to mind that you're like, okay, this was game changing for me?
Well, the very first thing, I still think back to when I hired my very first employee, the very first person I ever hired. That's the thing that comes to mind. I've told this story before, but it was a Jamaican gal. And again, I remember being so worried that I'm going to pay this person. They're not going to work. I'm going to lose money, lose time. How is this all going to work? How can I trust her? How can I get more done? Like, I was so scared and like nervous, and I didn't really know what to think going into it. And then after it, and I ended up firing her. It didn't really go well, but there was enough success there that it did light the light bulb for me. There was enough success there where, I was able to pay her for a few weeks. There was work that was getting done. I saw how this could work. If I had the right person, I saw how it could work. That was a big realization moment for me. I went from theorizing this, I had a hypothesis, to testing it, and now I've got a working idea. And that was obviously a huge jump off point for me in my career. But that's one for sure. For sure.
That's a great one. I think that's a great one. Andrew, what is the first one that comes to mind for you?
I was going to piggyback off of that. He took mine.
He's still waiting. Andrew's still waiting to have one. Andrew's still waiting to have one of these.
You know what's crazy though is, Glenn, you are the delegation guy, so I'm gonna leave that to you. But delegation has changed my game for sure. But since Glenn had already said that, I would say what has changed my game too is discipline and intentionality. Because last in this game, you're gonna, as happy as you can seem every day, waking up, and you could have a nice cup of coffee, and then figure, so, you're everybody is tired. That's doing pretty well in this industry. Let's just keep it a buck right now, right? Everybody is super tired. Everybody always is not questioning them, but questioning the next steps. And there's a lot of thought process. And what should I do to, just like, you're comparing yourself sometimes. There's a lot of things that happen when you're trying to grow and you're trying to do a lot of things. So I think what really needs to happen is you need discipline first. You need to ingrain that in to get all these actions to go, right? Like, you can't really say you're going to do one thing, and then that's why a lot of people fall off. Regular agents, you already know the odds, whatever, 2 out of 10 make it, 1 out of 10 make it. But businesses that flourish, that turn into actual businesses, that turn into like Cadillac, Hallmark, like generational businesses, that takes time, that takes effort, and that takes especially discipline. That's what I've learned. You got to lock in. You have to be very, very, you have to keep moving the goalpost towards your goal, and you have to keep locked in. If not, then that discipline sort of fades, and then here you are sort of trying to play catch up with yourself, right? So I think that's very important to me.
So was there an instance or a moment that you look back on that was like, oh dang,
I love this one, by the way.
Me too.
I love this one. This is a big one.
Yeah, there was a moment.
Yeah, talk about that moment. What was it, if you're comfortable sharing that? Like, what
Yeah.
was the moment that really pushed you over the top that you're like, okay, I need to start taking this seriously?
Yeah, like Glenn was saying, I mean, I'm still fighting more moments, but I've had multiple moments though. I did have multiple moments ahead of that. So there's an initial moment where you're like, I'm broke or I need to do something with my life. And, there's that. And that's the first, the obvious one, right? The one that I need to do, I'm an entrepreneur. I can't work. I'm a type A. I can't work for these fools anymore. I can't stand around these fools. I'm the smartest person in the room. But I have $600 in my bank account. What if, so you're in this weird position where you think you're better and your life is worth more than where you're at right now, but you don't have anything worth your salt, saying that you are good for something, right? So you haven't proven yourself. So that initial discipline kicks in with that kind of motivation, right? That motivation is not the motivation that fades. That's the one that sort of wakes you up and kicks your ass first. That's the one that says, hey, you got to feed your kids. Hey, that's the one that says you got to actually be something. Hey, that's the one that says you got to drive to be something today. Or, everybody in insurance is here. Like one of my agents' motivation is just to help. Really, the money comes along. I know that does sound corny for a lot of people that especially are in growth mode and are, in it for the money. I mean, we are in it for the money, but some people are like, I show up because I'm actually helping people. So I'm like fine with this kind of job, right? But then again, discipline will always kick in because you need to hone your craft. So especially if you're coming in as a new agent, you need that discipline to sit down and be like, I need to watch this 7-figure university to figure out what sales is first. I need to figure out how to introduce myself, who I am, what I'm doing here, why I'm talking to you. Like, I need to figure out steps A, B, C, D in first, right? And you need to do that with a mentor and also with discipline. You need time set aside, or you need that mental bandwidth to retain information, or at the very least stay locked in. Always stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right? That kind of mentality. So you're always locked in so that you're continuously growing right at that point. So I think discipline, if you don't continue doing that, then you have to work on getting back your discipline, and then you have to keep moving forward. It's so you have to do another step again. No, right?
I totally get it. I'm coming up on close to a year. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm close to a year of consistently working out. And discipline to me, when I really think about it, there's so many mornings when my alarm goes off, I do not want to get out of bed. I do not want to work out. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to go to the pool. I don't want to do it. But again, it's not about what I want at that point. It's about the discipline of the habit, right? It's at the commitment to the discipline to doing the habit, and knowing that even if I'm not feeling it today, and some days I am, some days I'm pumped about it. Some days I wake up, I'm awake in the morning, even before I'm caffeinated. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I'm ready for this. Many days, maybe even most days, that's not it though. Right. Most days it is the commitment to the discipline of the habit, and knowing that when I get to the other side of this, I'm going to feel better. I will be a better person. I'll be happier. I'll be better for those around me. I can support other people better by doing this. So that's a huge one. I love that. And I've seen it with you, man. I've seen you post about it. I've seen you post about doing 75 hard, I believe. You did one of those, right?
Yeah. I'm doing a variation always.
Yeah. I know you're always doing something so I know stuff like that's not easy, So yeah, I've seen you publicly, talk about doing stuff like that. And I think there's a lot that gets gained mentally too when you challenge yourself, and then you can you succeed going through that challenge. I think there's a lot to be said about that.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah, I think it's what starts with everything, right? I think it helps you get a leg up on anything you're trying to do. It makes me think of I've been known to throw out a book from time to time on the pod, and makes me think of a book I read 2018, 2019 called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Darren Hardy was the founder of success.com, Success Magazine, that kind of thing. And the whole idea of the book is by doing every day you do a good habit versus a bad habit, It
Yeah.
compounds. It's a little bit easier in the future. But you know, every day you do a good habit and then the next day you falter and you fall off the wagon and you don't do it again. It's like you're starting over. It's like you're hitting
Right.
the reset button.
100%.
It's like you're at Final Bowser on Mario 64, and then you hit the reset all of a sudden, and you have no stars. You have no stars. You're like,
what a call out on the pod. That's a legendary game.
but
Legendary.
But that book was like, and I feel like I've always been a pretty disciplined person especially for business. But that book really kind of helped me understand, like, you really want to get good at something. You really want to be, masterful at something. You really want to, make progress at something. Has to be an everyday thing. And, sometimes it's easy to think, oh, I won't do it today. No big deal. But it is a big deal. It compromises all of the progress that you've made up until that point.